Hey guys, welcome to Platitude. This is going to be a really quick, down and dirty first video for the causes of the Civil War. So, first cause we're going to go over is abolition. The abolition movement can be considered a cause of the Civil War because abolitionists will force the issue by encouraging, nay, demanding, the immediate emancipation of all slaves. Now, this is problematic because the abolitionist view of slavery is in direct opposition with the picture of slavery that the South was trying to promote. You know, that picture of the happy slave. Theodore Weld, who was considered a moderate abolitionist, went so far as to accuse Southern masters of treating slaves with barbarous inhumanity, and he will collect eyewitness testimonies from slaveholders to prove his point. Now, his work was to expose the evils of slavery, and it will heavily influence Harriet Beecher Stowe. Now, Harriet Beecher Stowe came to the abolitionist movement naturally. She was raised on the Christian rhetoric against slavery preached by her father, Lyman Beecher. Her brother was also part of the abolition movement. Her husband was part of the abolitionist movement. And she was immediately influenced by her sister-in-law's work. And she will feel compelled to tell the story of the slave and will write Uncle Tom's Cabin. Now, this book, when it comes out, it's like a national bestseller, and it will horrify many in the North who were ignorant or unwilling to really consider or think about the true nature of slavery. And not only that, but the book makes it to Britain. And this is a big deal because Britain is the primary trading partner of the South. British subjects will demand a boycott of Southern cotton. Oh no, she just messed with the South's money. Needless to say, she was persona non grata in the South. In fact, many states in the South will ban her book. But most importantly, by making people in the North less willing to compromise on slavery, it contributed to the march towards war. Frederick Douglass, arguably the most famous abolitionist, will go on the road with the American Anti-Slavery Society on a 6-month tour, giving speeches promoting abolitionism. He will even make a stopover at Seneca Falls, you know, the birthplace of the suffrage movement. He will advocate for women's suffrage as well. And he will eventually publish his own magazine called North Star. Now, here's the kicker about Douglass. He was a runaway slave, meaning he was a walking, talking middle finger to the South and their fugitive slave laws. So the South did not take this, or him, Frederick Douglass, very well. And it's going to force them to dig in their heels even more. Now, there were two people that brought Frederick Douglass into prominence, or helped him into prominence. And that's Wendell Phillips and William Lloyd Garrison, two very powerful players within the abolitionist movement in their own right. And they were probably the most radical, other than Frederick Douglass, you know. But both of them believed that the Union would have to be dissolved to achieve abolition. They did not believe that there was a peaceable solution to bringing an end to slavery. Wendell Phillips, he was called the Golden Trumpet. He was a great orator. But he was also, like I said, very radical. So he went as far as to boycott anything that was made with sugar or needed to be sugared. He boycotted all sugar because slaves were used to produce sugar. He also boycotted anything made with cotton. We're talking linen, sheets, towels, clothes, anything that was made with cotton, he boycotted it. Because again, cotton was produced using slaves. Garrison, William Lloyd Garrison, was called the Agitator, and he created and published The Liberator, a abolitionist newspaper. Now, here's the crazy thing about Garrison. He's best known for one of his speeches in which he will hold up the Constitution of the United States, light it on fire, and say that the Constitution was a covenant with death. So it was like a contract with death and an agreement with hell. And this fanaticism is going to be the most famous or the most notorious version of abolitionism, and this is what's going to stick in Southerners' minds. And so you have to remember that fanaticism of any kind, even if it's for the right reason, can be harmful to a cause, especially if you meet with equal fanaticism. And this idea, this abolitionist movement, will actually increase siege mentality, that everyone is out to get the South and they're trying to eradicate their way of life, which they were, right? Okay, so that's the abolitionist movement and how it promotes and how it is directly tied to slavery and the cause of the Civil War. Thanks.